Yeah, okay, very good. Okay, let me get started. So some of you might know me. I'm the organizer and also the proud host for today's session. Thank you, Patrick, for letting us know you're in listen only. Okay. My mission in life is to disrupt the needless destruction of human potential. Could be in the name of Agile, but now people say Agile is dead. So now AI seems to be the new Agile. So I just want to, I care about human beings, and I see in the tech industry, there's a lot of needless destruction of human potential, and I just want to stop it wherever I can. That's me. Housekeeping session is being recorded. You will be in listen only mode. We used to be more interactive, then we got Zoom bombed. So I still have scars from that. So we locked it down pretty good. So for interaction, oh, that's a bug from my previous presentation. We don't have Menti. We just have Q&A panel. So please use the Q&A panel for interacting today. Not all questions will be answered in today's session, but potentially if you have some follow-up questions that couldn't be answered, maybe you can make a kind and polite request to Anu, and if possible, then maybe Anu will do a complimentary session, or Anu, maybe you can tell people should they want to engage with you afterwards, what's your preferred way? Okay.
Sure.
All right. Okay, so I'll tell you a little bit about our meetup. This is going to be, my math is 11 years. Yeah, 11-year anniversary. So we finished 11 years. When we were founded, DevOps was AI, right? Everybody was saying DevOps is the next big thing. So we tried to ride the wave and we called it Agile DevOps DFW. And then I said, okay, let me just be true to who I am. So we changed it to ROI based Agile coaching. We care about ROI, we care about agility and coaching. And we wanted to explore intersections of these topics, which are very dear to my heart. Usually monthly, Wednesday or Thursday, but this has been a busy month. I think this is our second meetup in the month of November. Usually 11 to 12 to try to include participants all the way from India to the west coast of the US. And thanks to the brilliant Zoom bomber, we switched to a webinar format. All right, upcoming events. Uh, Next month, I will be speaking at a webinar of another partner organization called TechGrid, where we will be focusing on the ROI of AI spend. So you probably have heard about the MIT report, which says 95% of the $40 billion spent on AI created zero ROI. So we want to share some ideas on how you can avoid being part of the next 95% and the next 30 to 40 billion dollars of wasted AI spend. So if you are interested, follow me on LinkedIn or RSVP to this event on the Tech Grid page on LinkedIn. If you need any help, send me a direct message on LinkedIn. I'll give you the link. Then I have another webinar for this ROI based Agile group, Work to Worth. So this is a follow on to the webinar I did earlier this month, where I tried to identify what's the one metric that probably your executives care about. Once you identify that one metric your executives care about, how can you tie your day-to-day work to that one metric? How can you quantify what you're bringing to your company, not in terms of the work you're doing, but the worth? So I'll be talking about that in December. I'd love to have you there if you can. And next year, we're starting the year with one of our meetup attendees. That's how I got to know KJ, who's now coming back as a speaker, navigating disruptive forces with the agility map. So pretty busy schedule. And now let me switch to telling you a little bit about my company, Org Whisperers. My goal at Org Whisperers is to help companies make money, save money, reduce risk by tapping into their teams and their leaders. That's what we do. The services we offer are helping people in tech become better leaders because we usually don't get any leadership training. We're thrown in at the deep end. We help entrepreneurial product owners. We help you create high performing teams. And then if you want to scale the number of high performing teams, we help you with scaling. Typically, we'll start with a chemistry session to see if we have compatible values, complementary strengths. We'll do a diagnostic to help you solve the right problem. We'll use sprints like Scrum to help you deliver small vertical slices of value to your company. And then when the time is right, we're going to leave behind some playbooks for self-sufficiency and we'll wrap up our engagement. So that's how we work typically. This model has worked well for 15 years. We've got measurable results and published case studies, some client results, 95% time to market, 154% growth in customer sat, 85% growth in profit, 80% sprint goals achieved. And we've got some published case studies. So if you're curious and if you feel we can help you, I'd love to work with you. So you can contact me. All right, let me move on to the reason why you are here, which is to listen to Anu, how I got hired on an agile team. So uh, I'll tell you how Anu and I met. So about 2 years ago, I was speaking at this amazing meetup, Scrum Masters of the Universe, and it's created by Jamie. And Jamie is such an inspiring person. So this meetup has, I feel, become like a beacon in our industry for two reasons. The world's best speakers come to Scrum Masters of the Universe. And more importantly, Jamie has created, I feel, a loving, nurturing, supportive community, especially at this time we desperately need it because our industry is going through some very difficult times. So if you have not heard of it, if you have not joined it, I highly recommend please join Scrum Masters of the Universe and also subscribe to their YouTube channel. They have so much great content from the world's best thinkers. So, Jamie, thank you. God bless you for who you are and what you have shown to be possible. And I think Scrum Master of the Universe, it has some ridiculous number of uh, members. Is it like
It's about close to 7,000 now.
7,000? So
Yes.
it's a wonderful community. All right. So what happened was Jamie was kind enough to give me an opportunity as a speaker, and then she was kind enough, and actually she invited me back. And it so happened when she invited me back, Anu was the moderator and she was the organizer. So Anu helped me every step of the way. And what happened was I put Anu in my to be hired folder because when I come across incredible talent, I've been in the industry, I'm 50 years old. I've been in the industry for 27 years. I've probably worked with thousands of people. And I know that great talent is very hard to find, especially if you're an entrepreneur. One of the biggest problems you're going to face as an entrepreneur is finding great people who you can depend on. So every step of the way when I was interacting with Anu, she made sure I was taken care of and I could deliver value to the attendees of Scrum Masters of the Universe. And I was like, man, I want to work with this person. So I think Anu, this was September, right? Or 2 years ago, or
2 years ago, yes, you were the last finalist person to close out that year's
that
meetup,
year. Yeah,
and
yeah,
we did a December special, and
yeah,
you were the last person to close it.
yeah.
Yes.
So maybe we started interacting September, October. Then I did the presentation December. And then I had an opening at a client. And I was thinking, who can I get? Who can I get? And then suddenly Anu came into my mind. And I was scrolling through the LinkedIn profile, and Anu came to my mind. I sent a message. The job is not even posted. I sent a message. Hey, Anu, are you interested? I introduced Anu to my client. My client loves Anu. And now 2 years, I think, Anu, you've been working
Yes.
for Resumex.
Yes.
And I wanted Anu to share her story with all of you because this is a tough market. Probably seeing ghost jobs, you're applying job after job, and it might be demoralizing to not hear back. So this is one data point where you have Anu as the person who was selected before the job was posted, and you have the hiring manager. So we just want to share our story in case it gives you some hope, some techniques. I'm not saying this will happen to you, may or may not, but if there's something useful, we want to give you a ray of hope. All right. So that is my introduction for Anu. And Anu, I would like you to please add anything else that you want people to know about you.
Thank you, Ravi. First of all, it's such a great honor to have been introduced by you, right? I'm very grateful for what you have done for me in my life, both as a mentor and, as the person, as a well-wisher of all. And you still so graciously continue to do so. Thank you for that. And I'm very thankful for the entire community that I've built and also to the Scrum Masters of the Universe, which you so graciously mentioned here. So thanks to Jamie and the team. But of all, I was this person who had a lot to offer, right? Like if you can see the screen here, it says about my journey as such as a person. So what do? I have two beautiful boys, and I'm a pet mom, which I never thought I'll be a cat mom in my life ever. I always grew up with dogs, and this guy found us, and then he changed the perception of towards being a cat. And I do content creation. I do write about things that I deeply care about here on LinkedIn. I'm a very different person on Facebook. I do write movie reviews. If you're into it, go check it out for sure. And I love to cook. Cooking is my passion. If I'm low, if I need more energy, if I have something to look up to, I just go start whipping up something, and that's why you see a pan there with vegetables. And of all, what I like to do is connect people. When I see people around, I kind of, make the dots connect with each other. And I'm like, hey, I met this person. Maybe this person can help this person. So I love to do that. Even I think growing up as a kid is like, wanting to help people. And this connection, so, casually came along the way, and I started doing this without even me having to realize it. So connecting people is, I would say, my superpower of all, because I can remember people. And as Ravi said, he has his own hiring list. I have people that I can remember, and I whenever I go to places like conferences, I just make those connections. So this is about me. I've traveled few continents along with my amazing husband, and here I now live in North Carolina, United States, and it's been quite a journey. So that's about me, Ravi. Thank you. You're on mute.
So now I'm going to stop the share and we're just going to have a conversation, Anu and I. And if you notice me looking this way, I have your Q&A panel pulled up here. So along the way, I'll be monitoring your questions. If I can weave it into the conversation, I will. Otherwise, Anu and I have prepared a list of questions or topics we want to discuss. At the end, if there's time, we'll come to your question at the end if we can. If not, we'll tell you how to continue engaging with Anu. Okay. So, uh, so the first question is, you told us a little bit about your background already. Is there anything else you want to tell us? Set up the story about your background or where you were in your career journey
Mhm.
when our paths crossed.
Right, for sure. Um, Same way, like what Ravi is doing, I have so much to share with you all. So if I were to, digress and look the other side, it's because I have so much notes which I don't want to miss. We are both intending to give as much value as we can today. So, appreciate your grace on this. So Ravi, I did start my career. Right out of college, went into being an administrative assistant, and then I became an executive assistant to a CEO, and then eventually moved on to HR. And that's when I became a technical recruiter. So I was, it was early in the 2000s, which was really, really very easy for any recruiter, because you had all this, job portals like Monster, Hot Jobs, where you can just pick up any resume if you want, and then you have a conversation, and then you line up interviews. So filling up a requirement was very easy, and I grew up and I started to be a recruiter and then have a team of my own. And the only constant thing in life is change. So when came to a situation that I had to raise my own family, and for health reasons I had to take a break. And with all things, as I said, traveling around the globe with my husband, raising the family, that sabbatical grew a little longer than I expected and anticipated. And finally, coming here to the States is when I'm like, okay, kids are growing up, they are being independent by themselves, then I need to want to get back to what I was doing. But I'm a person who can't just sit and not do anything, because I need to be, keep myself active. Just being a mom was not enough for me. So I did keep volunteering. I did, I went to schools, taught my mother tongue for kids. I did do event managements at community centers. So I kept myself, I wanted to be there in the field doing, giving back to the community however I can. And of course, along the way, I made so much connections and, referrals along the way. So coming across this, I wanted to jump back into the job market, and that's when this all started. And this all started like about 3 years ago, right now. And I remember, attending each and every meetups as we go along the way. And in that process meeting Ravi as well. So this is my background. But coming back to the work is what we're going to talk about, how, how
Yeah,
difficult it was, what I had to do and all that for sure. Yeah.
yeah. So now you're navigating the re-entry into the job market.
Mhm.
What was your dream job like? What were you dreaming for?
Yeah, my dream job is like I've always been the people person, right? Like for me, IT or sitting and coding never worked because I want human interaction. I've been brought up that way. So for me, it's like meeting people, connecting people, or whatever it is. And if traveling is a perk or an added advantage to it, yay! So which at the current job I get to do both, which is a
Mhm.
blessing. And the days that I don't travel, I do have remote work. So I think post COVID, a lot of things change for all of us,
Mhm.
having the flexibility to stay at home and take care of your children and everything along the way. So that was my dream job, Ravi. Yeah.
Cool. And now you probably had some expectations about how the job search experience was going to be. So, what was unfolding in your mind as you imagined, okay, I'm going to apply, and then what next? What
Right.
happens next?
Right. I mean, like, you know what? I'm like, okay, I was a recruiter. I'm going to come back. This is going to be a piece of cake because I've been there, done that myself. And then,
Mhm.
how difficult it should be. But the long gap that I had and the time that I
Mm.
came back, so many things had shifted, so many things have changed. People are not just only looking through job portals anymore. People are not just, they are wanting people who have that experience and exposure, right? Like who have that
Mhm.
connection with people, who can vouch for them. Like how Ravi said, have that personal connection. So I was there trying to look for jobs. And then when you go to places like LinkedIn or any other job portal, if you look at one job, the same job is posted across portals. And by the time you go there and you apply for it, there are already like 1,000 people who have applied for it. And LinkedIn gives you that status right away. And it's been days that I've kept myself awake at 1 o'clock in the night. The companies that I follow that post jobs, I'll go immediately, but then only to see like 400 people have already done that.
Already.
I'm not just there by myself. There are so many people. I wouldn't say competing, but looking for job, obviously trying
Mhm.
to land that space. And in that process, I also felt like something is shifting. It's like you're applying for jobs, but what is not happening? There was consistent hiring freeze across all places. And for a person like me, I'm like, I need to be a perfectionist, right? And this imposter syndrome, like, okay, for this job description, is it like 85% I'm okay, but should I apply for this? I'm not even 100% okay. So all these things kept me, making those assumptions and questions in my mind. And yes, it was very difficult to navigate that process, Ravi, to answer your question, and a lot of questions and thoughts in my mind for sure.
Yeah. And I feel like I also wonder, is there a difference between the way women and men think in terms of comparing themselves to standards?
Right.
And uh, I know for myself, I have a habit to sometimes overestimate what I can do.
Mm,
And the bar for me to say, yeah, I think I can do it, let me try,
right.
the mindset is different. Whereas for a woman, it's possible that there is a very strong inner critic. And what I've noticed in my company, when I hire women, women are usually my top performers, but they are constantly second guessing themselves and criticizing themselves, and they are constantly finding themselves not measuring up to their expectations. I am the client. I have to fight and argue with my top performing women to convince them, no, I'm the client. I think you're awesome. And their inner critic is very, very powerful. So I just wanted to, my intuition said, I think I should share this, especially for women who are applying, and in case this energy is also interfering with their ability to apply to jobs which they are qualified for.
200% Ravi, and I think you also saw that in me, working together. And I appreciate you for being the voice that you always, give for women and advocate women. I appreciate that. But yes, the imposter syndrome, I think, works very differently for men and women. Women are like, it has to be like 110%, if not 100% sometimes. So I appreciate you sharing that thought today. Yes.
Yeah, and also, this can have an impact on your salary, because there are some statistics which say that for the exact same job, a woman might get 83 cents on the dollar for a man, or maybe less. I don't know. And over a 20, 30-year career, it's going to compound.
Mm,
So from the time that you're applying for a job, if your inner critic is saying, hey, you're not good enough, the stance that you may bring to the interviews is, hey, thank you for you're doing me a favor.
mm,
And the recruiter is going to watch out for their company, so
mm,
they may exploit that to not give you the money you deserve, because in salary negotiation a guy will usually ask for 25-50% more,
mhm.
and a woman sometimes, if she has the mindset that, hey, I'm so grateful you considered me, she may actually be willing to do 25-50% less. So this energy is so important. It can have such a massive impact, not only on whether you get the job, but even after you get the job, what are you getting paid for it? And it can have long-term implications on your salary. So it's so
Absolutely.
important to be aware of it if that energy is playing into the recruitment process. Okay, cool. So what was it like, and what was the most surprising difference between what you had in mind and your actual journey?
Right. So surprises along the way is like I was trying to put myself out there, right? Like because it was not like before you just put your resume in job portals and then you'll get phone calls. Now social media is into place. Like everywhere people are seeing what you're doing, what you're saying, and who your connections are. And in that process of trying to put myself out there, in of course I started off with LinkedIn. I started getting DMs, like messages saying that, let's have a call, I might have a position for you. And I was in the transitioning journey of wanting to be a Scrum Master because I can get work done.
Mhm.
So I was like, okay, let me get into this call. And it was just a free consultation. People were genuinely exploiting, like they were saying, I would
Oh,
pay you this much. If I will give you a job, but you'll have to pay me this much. Is like what they offered in return is like all the recorded sessions. Go watch this. I'll give you fake experiences. You can put it on your
wow.
resume. Yes, and then you can go and become a Scrum Master. And I'm like, that's not working with my ethics. First of all, I'm a recruiter. I know that. I've literally rejected people for having fake experiences. Because at the end of the day, there are people who fake it till until they make it. That is there. But then you are hired, and you as a recruiter, for me, especially in HR, I'm looking out for the company, and I'm also looking out for the person who's joining the company, so there's going to be a match and a connection. So if I don't see that, and I'm not hiring, and I'm not, and when I was going there and people seeing and selling things to me, that was really, really very surprising for me. And I saw the shift of, people coming to you, or making people come to you, and instead of you going and looking for a job. So that shift was there, and I was trying to place myself in the right place and the right moment to be noticed. So yes, that was a big challenge which I had to figure out early, and I was lucky, I guess.
Yeah, and I'm noticing that might be happening right now, where people are trying to exploit and prey on the insecurities of vulnerable people. So I saw a post on LinkedIn today that there is a fake job where it was for some company. I won't mention it. It's not from that company, but
Mhm.
so there's a fake job. Candidate applies, then the recruiter says, "Hey, I don't think you're a good fit, but I think if you go and talk to this consultant, they will help you tweak your resume or something." So that if
Mm,
the candidate trusts the recruiter, actually
mm,
the recruiter is probably like a fake person who is a uh, working for the same organization as the paid consultant. So the
right.
poor candidate goes to the paid consultant, and the consultant starts by exploiting their vulnerability to offer paid services. So, uh, yeah, it's sad that, but that's part of the human condition, right? That we can do mean things to each other. So that's happening. There are also ghost jobs.
Yeah.
So I in that maybe there was a separate post which says there are ghost jobs where people are trying to mine resumes or make their employees feel insecure,
Mm-hmm.
or I don't know, identity theft. I also know that sometimes either immigration law, or some well-intentioned law, I'm sure, forces people, even if they have chosen an internal person to do the job,
Mm,
some law or policy forces them to place a job, but
mm,
there is no chance of anyone other than the pre-selected internal candidate being hired. So a lot of unpleasant things happening. And then just trust your intuition. I don't know if there is a silver bullet, but be aware that stuff like this happens. Another friend of mine told me that sometimes the job is open, they apply, Maybe they have an interview and the hiring manager says, "Oh, I'm sorry, we found an we made a decision." Then the job closes. Few days later, the same job reopens. And it's
Mhm.
weird. So a lot of weird things are happening. Just trust your intuition. At least be aware,
Right.
so you don't pin your hopes. Because I know when I'm looking for a job, every time I apply, my I start dreaming into that job, and then it's so heartbreaking.
Yes.
So just be kind to yourself and be, I would say, be measured in terms of pinning your hopes, because it's possible that some of these are not good people and they're not doing
Right.
good things.
Right.
So
And
yeah, so
if
yeah,
I may,
go ahead.
Ravi, one of the
Yeah.
way to authenticate that, if it is actually a real job, is to check with the connection who works there, right? If you
Yes.
are in LinkedIn,
Yes.
share this job and say, hey, do you know if this is an actual opening and if I can apply for it? And if you, especially if they are a first connection and have a good rapport with them for sure, even before you apply for it. That way, like Ravi says, you don't get your hopes up and then everything vanishes off. I just wanted to share that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's so important, Anu, that if you check with your connection, because the connection who's working on the inside may have some insider knowledge about what's it feel like. Because very often there are two sets of books: what's written on the company's website about mission, vision, values, and
Mhm.
what people say in the job description may
Correct.
be different from how things are done on the inside. So
Correct.
that could be another data point besides validating, is this a genuine job? Is also to ask, hey, what's it like to work on the inside? With the caveat that companies have microcultures, and sometimes culture is defined by your manager and management. So the you two people could be working in the exact same company, but their experience of working in the company could be different.
Right.
But those are good questions to ask to protect yourself. So, so what are some other challenges you want to share that you encountered and how you overcame them? And I can see you're coughing. So thank you for showing up. I know that as Murphy's Law will have it, you got this cold the day before, the night before the webinar. That's just how life works sometimes.
Right, exactly. And I'm like, not today. I don't want to have at least the cough. Cold is okay. But yeah. Yeah. So how did I overcome, Ravi? All of this is like, as I said, to be seen, how to be seen, right? Like, and then also along with it, the experience. So when I was applying, and then when people saw, like, I have this big sabbatical gap, it's like they're asking, what have you done during this time? So to be able to answer that part of the question, I found myself volunteering in a lot of places. So the nonprofits that came to help, like like when you go and join, for example, the job hackers that I was part of. So I went and learned the Agile MBA course that they were teaching, and then I started to volunteer there. I just wanted to pay it forward, and then I created a social media marketing team out there, and then I was seeing how I can help them as well, because this is a community again, right? Like they are all looking for jobs, and it's called job hackers for a reason. And putting myself out there in any meetup that I can learn basically from, like your Scrum Masters of the Universe, any local in-person meetups that I can go to, not only to make the connections, but basically to learn, because I was in this process of transitioning and wanting to become a Scrum Master. So you see in LinkedIn says a lot of things, right? You see two different versions of what people are sharing. There are people saying things from experience, there are people who are sticking only to the guide and sharing things only from the guide. So you wanted to hear both these things, and trying to put myself out there, going to these places and meetups really really helped. And along the way, doing a lot of coffee chats or making genuine authentic connections with people on LinkedIn. It's like I follow the person, I genuinely learn from them, I ask them if this is in a personal DM, if of course they are willing to share. I ask a question and I genuinely learn from them, and wanting to have a coffee chat, not with an intent to again land for a job, but to probably
Yes.
find mentors. I found so many mentors here on LinkedIn, being on
Yeah.
LinkedIn, Ravi being one that person today. So all these things kind of helped me put myself out there, and then that was how I overcame it. I started attending Scrum Masters of the Universe. I think at some point in time I'll be the first person to even be there, even before the bridge was open. And all it took for me is like to ask that question, right? Like, hey, can I be on your leadership team? Can I start hosting? And then what are they going to say? They might just say yes or no. I'm okay with the no, but then maybe that is a feedback in itself, right? Like I can go and see what better I can do. But to be able to notice and to be able to say yes, I had given a lot, I was be there, I was one of their members. So what is that you can do in the process, and help each other out in the process, I guess, is how I was able to overcome these problems. This is just like a fourth of what it was, you know. But making connections, that is very, very important, and making that authentic connections takes a while. And
Yeah.
I started off, when I remember coming back from my sabbatical with all that, where I'd left is because LinkedIn was never there in the early 2000s, right? Like I
Hmm.
just had about 250 connections or something in my LinkedIn, and then trying to bring it up and build it and bring the followers up to where I am today. It takes time, of course, and it has to be natural and authentic. You can just keep sending requests to any person, but then along the way you're making connections to introduce to people or to find your next job, so yeah, it
Yeah.
takes time.
And then last night you reached 5,000. So from
Thank you.
250 connections to 5,000 connections. So
Yes.
congratulations on
Thank
that.
you. Thank you, Ravi. I appreciate that. And yes,
Yeah.
it is heartwarming, but it has taken its time, right? Like
Yes.
that's why I'm happy about it. It's not like increasing your presence. It's not about having followers. It's about sharing what I wanted to share with everybody else and then uplift them with me. So I'm very
Yeah.
happy and proud of that.
Yeah. And there are challenges with LinkedIn, but also, it is because of LinkedIn that I think Mark Metz found out about my webinar. So he started attending my webinars. Then Mark introduces me to Jamie. And then I speak at Scrum Masters of the Universe. And through Jamie, I get to know you.
Dang,
And
yes.
now full circle.
Like,
Yeah,
right.
and also what I noticed, what's the biggest fear of a hiring manager?
Mm,
This person who may have a great resume and a great
mm,
online profile and may be great at interviewing, when they join my team, are they going to create more problems than they solve? Will this be like my worst nightmare radioactive hire?
mm,
So that's the hiring manager's fear. At least that's my fear. And that is why I prefer to observe people who are serving with no ulterior motive. And you can tell who is serving with an ulterior motive and who is just serving because their heart is dancing. It sets a soul on fire. You can tell the difference.
right.
And so if you can find a volunteer opportunity
Mm,
which just sets your soul on fire, makes your heart dance, then whether you get a job or not, it doesn't matter. You're learning, you're hanging out with your tribe, you're energized. When you think about going to that volunteer opportunity, your heart starts singing and dancing. When you're there, it's singing and dancing. When you come back, it's singing and dancing. That's a great opportunity. And that's what I noticed. And that's where a lot of times I've done my hiring. I
mm,
try to see who is serving.
correct.
I
Correct.
observe them. I see what are their core values through their actions. And then I'm comparing and contrasting from my ideal candidate. What
Mm,
values do I want? What behaviors do I want? And then I'm seeing this person. And then that's how people go to my to be hired list.
okay.
And one book that Don McGrail, who we both know, recommended, which I haven't read, but Don gave me a quick overview, is called The Speed of Trust.
Mm,
And the speed of trust is has a step-by-step approach on how what it takes for one human being to trust another human being. And now as I look back at our relationship through the lens of the speed of trust, I can see that what was happening is you were gradually going higher and higher on my trust tree
mm,
until you reached the pinnacle, like I can trust this person. And then you
right.
went to my to be hired file, and
Nice.
then a job opened up, and I'm going through my to be hired. It's like, okay, let's hire him. Let's at least make an offer to Anu. So
Absolutely, because when you're looking from, as you said, the hiring person, not hiring somebody who, like you might just put your belief, and the hiring process in United States is not cheap. It's like you pay about $6,000 to do a background verification when a company is hiring, right?
mhm.
So is it worth, not just only for the money, but the time and the process it
Yes,
takes from putting out a job description, from even from the recruiter side, and then having to go through so many resumes, and with AI now in place, to see the authenticity of those resumes and then actually talk to a human person on the call, because everything has become remote now, and then you
yeah,
don't get to meet that person, and if is this the actual person that you're actually talking to, and then take that courage to hire this person only to see maybe they might not be a good fit, right? So
yeah,
it is always a good way and a process to go through a human connection in the loop, and then land that job, or have to be on someone's higher list like Ravi has, for sure. Yes.
yeah. And I would love to. get feedback from people. So if you want to share something, please raise your hand. And then what I'll do is I'll unmute you, and just please be kind and polite. And if if there's any inappropriate behavior, I will have to kick you out. So I would like to start making it interactive. So if you have anything to add, please do raise your hand and I'll be monitoring that. So as you look back at the resources that you use that supported you along the way, what are the most helpful resources, especially that you would recommend in today's context?
Right. One is like, as I said, right, volunteering. It is
Mhm.
a genuine place where people help each other out.
Mhm.
You're not forced to deliver something, but then you are encouraged and you are people who are mentoring you along the way to do things. And it is a place where you can be open-minded, you can be
Mhm.
creative. It's a very safe space. Any volunteering space is a safe space. So you are okay and allowed to make mistakes and learn along the way. So that is one thing. And the other thing is there's always this debate going on saying, should I have my green banner on? Should I leave it off?
Yes.
I would say go ahead and leave it on because I've had so many people reach out to me because of the content or whatever I write and, reach out to people saying, hey, how can I help? Genuinely sending me DMs saying, and I've had people doing mock interviews with me sitting from UK, like Anu,
Mhm.
let's do a Scrum Master mock interview. Let's say how you're doing. I'll give you feedback. And nobody does that in age and time of this where people are all busy. And I've had people offer me certifications, right? So they are like, Anu, looks like you're in between jobs. Is there something that I can do? And I've got my facilitation uh, certification through one of these connections that I have on LinkedIn. So it gives you and pays you in a lot of way, but all people want to see is what is that you are doing? Like, what is that? Are you worth giving something their time or even a certification or a course? So, you know, it's okay to have a green banner on, but sometimes I also know that, putting it off and then putting it back on gives more look and feel to the recruiters. And I also know for LinkedIn, you at least have to have minimum 500 connections for the recruiters to even start seeing you. So that is one of the must criteria, because people are not looking in job portals anymore. If they want to look into LinkedIn, and you should have those connections. And again, it makes the recruiter's job difficult because there are bots nowadays who can just increase the number of followers and connections that you have. But if you are a person who's genuinely trying to start your job search or making connections through LinkedIn, try and see if you can have more than 500. So yes, these two, obviously, and then get in touch with as many people as you can, network along the way, right? With intent, not with having to increase your following or just to reach out for jobs, but with genuine intent, so that you can be on their hiring list as well at some point in time. Or you could be the person to genuinely pass along a job offer that you have seen, and like, hey, you know what, I came across this, looks like this is not a good fit for me, but I know you're looking at this, why don't you go ahead? So I believe in karma. I know what goes
Mhm.
along comes along. So you can be that person to help, and that comes through networking for sure.
Yeah, and that reminds me that, if someone is offering help, even
Hmm,
if they can't make an introduction to a hiring manager, maybe they are giving you a mock interview or free seat in their training, most people are dealing with some challenge. So one of the things that I learned was every time I ask someone for help, make a sincere reciprocal offer. What is one thing I can do for you or someone you care about or a cause you care about as a way of expressing my gratitude?
correct.
So there are people who uh, may not have anything I can help with. They must be dealing with challenges.
Right.
But the fact that I asked, it might make them feel, hey, this is not just a transactional guy. This person cares. And very
Correct.
often in our time of need, we might have gone into the survival mode where
Correct.
we're just like trying to stay afloat. But even in that mode, if you can have empathy for the other human being and just ask and
Correct.
say, what can I do? And
Correct.
then if you sincerely can do something, do something. That
Absolutely.
that might help build a relationship. Yeah.
Absolutely. 200%.
So we are kind of approaching the end, and I want to save some time for Q&A. So what are some maybe either insights or tips you want to share with people who might find themselves in a somewhat similar spot as you were when our paths crossed?
Right. One thing I'll say is like come get out of your comfort zone as quickly as you can because
Mhm.
um, one thing, like coming growing from the family, or from the culture that I did, it's never been the place where I would market myself.
Mhm.
So I had to do that, but in a different way, right? Like, when I mean different way, it's like, how can I be make myself visible and also have connect with people? So I genuinely shared my learning. I genuinely asked for people to help me, saying, hey, if I'm making a mistake, correct me.
Mhm.
So putting myself out there, out in LinkedIn, putting posts out there is not for the faint heart, because you do have a lot of polices around there, because there are always different types of people. So learning without all the AIs that you have right now, to having to write content, and genuinely asking people for feedback, and then taking it all in, because end of the day, like as Ravi said, women have a different mindset. So when somebody is saying something for that post, you take it like personally on you, and like, oh, okay, how do you overcome that? Maybe next time around, as and time went, is to refine your post, and talk writing, and actually letting people know what you learned about, and also saying, hey, you know what, join this meetup or go to this place, I was here. So I started getting more genuine and authentic connections along that way. And some of the other tips that I want to share is, have your community in space. That is very, very, very important, because for me, my support system was my family. Without them, I could have not done anything, including my sister, my parents, my husband, my kids. So they wanted, because I've given them their time, and they wanted me to succeed. So it is kind of a give and take policy, right? So without and it was like 2 3 years, and I had to give so much of time. There were times I only slept for 4 hours a day, because I was doing three volunteering works at a time. So they were very gracious and generous with with all that I had to do, and they kind of uplifted me along the way. And build your own community, right? Like, that is very, very important. This is the support system, and the community is the people that you build here on social media, on and off social media, your in-person connections that you make, which is very important. It's not somebody is there. Hiring manager is always looking out for you, like Ravi said, right? Like,
Mhm.
somebody might say, okay, even before a job is posted, maybe you'll be hired, or maybe a recruiter is looking at you. Maybe she doesn't have a position for you right now, but she's always going to come back to you, right? So yeah, these are some of the tips I have, and I can share more when we have a time, offline. If you reach out to me, I'm very happy to share that with you as well.
Yeah, so much to unpack. So the one barrier that at least I faced culturally was when
Mm,
I was growing up, in my family, I had a habit, and I still do, like of hyperbole, exaggeration, and just bragging. So, so when my mother would like tap me on the hands and like, hey, don't exaggerate, don't brag about yourself.
mm,
So
mm,
now I come to LinkedIn. Now that voice is still very active, and that voice is protecting me from bragging. And now when I look at LinkedIn,
mm.
I'm cringing. Like, I don't want to uh, brag about it. So I have to reframe
Correct.
expressing myself on LinkedIn not as bragging,
Right.
but as sharing and as serving. So I
Correct.
overcame that hurdle that no, you don't have to brag about yourself, but write something helpful that will help another person in time of need. Something you
Correct.
learn from the school of hard knocks. Then the second barrier I found was, who are you? Why would anyone want to listen to you? What do you have to offer?
Correct.
So it's not bragging, but
Mm-hmm.
your content is not. So now the second critic is coming into the picture.
Right.
And so then the way I overcame the second critic was, okay, how about you share a solution to a problem that you did not know how to solve? So I'm writing for a past version of me. So now the second critic became, okay, all right, you're not trying to pretend you know something. You genuinely faced a problem 10 years ago. You couldn't solve it. Now you can solve it. Okay, I'm cool with that.
Correct.
So we might be putting, and then the third thing is, the first time I got negative comments on my post, oh
Mm.
my God, that was, I felt it in my body. So
Yes.
then I had to come up with another coping technique. And one of the memes I saw on Facebook, I think, was, you are collateral damage in everybody's war with themselves. So to try and understand that if you are trying to help and someone is nasty at you, it may not be about you. It may be about them and something that's going on. So there are layers upon layers of how to adapt the values you've been brought up with,
Correct.
and what has served you in your life so far into this new context, because none of us have been in this context before. So thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely. And one thing that I'll say is the toughest thing to do in life is to unlearn something, right? So,
Yes, unlearn.
and we are not all of us are very gracious to have gone through that kind of, parenting or coming up in a
Yes.
family. So it's very difficult for us to let go of the past and then to be in the present and not to think of that, because as you said, that inner voice is always going to be saying something to you.
Yeah.
And Ravi, I was just going through my notes, and a couple of things that I wanted
Mhm.
to share is like, I wanted to just say how difficult it is to go through this process. It's not easy. I feel you for that, because you always have to keep yourself self-motivated, because there's
Mhm.
nobody coming and cheering you up. And if you want a job, find a job in a market such as today, where things are taken away by AI or people are being replaced, where there's constant freezing of jobs. It's not easy. Give yourself some grace.
Mhm.
And I realized this when I went to India to see my parents after so long. I slept almost like about 12, 14 hours a day, because that's how much my body had needed at that point in time,
Mhm.
and I did not realize it until then. So have smaller wins, celebrate it with your family. It's okay even if you go to the interview round, right? You're like, hey,
Mhm.
at least I got an interview today, because that is a learning, and you would know what to do the next time, and what it's a lesson that's learned for you. Give yourself grace, reach out to a friend, go for a coffee chat, just relax, because your mental health in all this process is very, very, very important. And I'm very happy to give you my time or help you with it, or just be another person to listen to you. If you ever want to, reach out to me on LinkedIn, and I just wanted to share that here.
Very good. All right. Um, if there was just one action our viewers took,
Mhm.
anything in addition to what you have shared or have you covered?
um right, I think, um you're not in it alone.
Mhm.
Don't be scared. But it's easy to say, but I because I've been there myself, it's not an easy thing to do. But things are changing, but changing for the good. Like, there's a lot of shift that's happening. Reach out to people, find your mentors. If there's one thing that I want to say, please find mentor. I'm saying mentors plural, right? Because it's not just one person. If you
Mhm.
genuinely have made that connection, and their best interest is want to, hey, help you along the way. I've had like 4 or 5 mentors along the way, which I'm very happy about, and I've gotten feedback, and I'm just passing it along to other people along the way, right? So if there is one call to action, Ravi, I'd say find your mentors as quickly as you can, be it in any platform, be it in any space, especially the space that you wanting to get into, or the job that you're doing at. Finding a mentor will help you get to where you want to be more quickly.
Yeah, and I know one thing your words reminded me of. So a coaching session I had with my coach when I was saying, "Hey, I want new clients." He said, "Reach out to your fan club. If you don't have a fan club, build a fan club."
Nice.
So, uh, and that's when the first thing I first thought that came to my mind is I don't have a fan club. But then I realized that's not true. There are a
Mm,
lot of people I have helped along the way.
yes.
And when I started messaging people, and sometimes, like just a few days ago, I was going through my contacts and I was sending messages, and I noticed the history of some people who I had helped and I completely forgot.
Right.
And
Yep.
if I had been reading the messages, and if those had been messages of another person, I would have said, man, this is such a kind and loving person that he helped someone
Right.
without any expectation.
Right.
So find your mentors
Mhm.
and find your fans. And if
Thank
you
you.
don't
Thank
have
you for,
fans,
yeah.
build your
Yes.
fan club.
Yes, no, thank you for saying that, because when I was applying for jobs, I was like, who can I reach out to, right? Like, I have helped a lot of people along the way, but not in a transactional way. Make a note of all this someplace, right? Like, one
Mhm.
person that you know who's going to be there, okay?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
you have offered them something, and they have told you, in times of need, let me know, I will help
yeah.
you. So make note of that person, have that LinkedIn somewhere in your, or at least the name, so that you can reach out to that person. Because there had been times, like how Ravi said, I'd been scrolling on LinkedIn, hey, I see this job opportunity, who should I reach out to here? But
Mhm.
then I don't know, right? Like, I couldn't pull it up from there. Eventually I started doing that. Eventually I started to reach out to the companies when I got more better on LinkedIn. But yes,
Mhm.
along with the way, with the mentors, your fans, and also the people that you have helped, so that you can ask for a favor later.
Yeah. Find your mentors, find your fans, and also be prepared to be surprised because there are people
Yeah.
who I helped so much
Mhm.
and in their time of most dire need, and they won't even return my call. And there was a person, there might be people with whom I thought I had a lot of conflict, and
Right.
they are the most kind, I mean, kindest and loving people. So be prepared to be surprised by human nature. So I think those are the three key takeaways. If I was to distill your essence, my essence, and mash it up.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you, Ravi. Yes.
Right. Time for questions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen again so that if you want to, those of you who are attending, if you are not already connected with Anu and you want to connect, and also I think Anu, you've distilled the essence of your experience into a white paper. Is that
Yes.
correct?
Yes. Ravi, can you share the screen that we were talking about? Because I
Yes.
do see one question from Nishant Narayan here in the Q&A.
Okay.
Journey
Oh
was neat.
yes. Oh,
Yeah.
maybe yeah, Nishant is here. Yeah. Okay. And Nishant, if you like, I can, if you would like to ask this question verbally, I can, please raise your hand on Zoom and I can allow you to talk, or we are also happy to just read your question and answer as best as we can.
Right.
And sorry, I
Um,
didn't notice it. Okay.
Oh,
Yes.
no, no worries. So, Nishant, I feel you. I see you and I feel you, and I see myself in that exact position 3 years ago. Not that, I don't make mistakes today, not that I'm any better of what I was before. I'm still learning. If you were to post on LinkedIn, the best tip I can ever give is the first thing is always hard. The first time is always difficult, right? Because that's how you're going to learn. But if you don't take that leap of faith and do it, you're never going to get there. So it might be brutal, but for all you know, it might also be breezy, right? And it might also be some posts do land, some posts don't land. Nowadays you have AI. AI can help you with so many things, tell you what time to post. If you're a person here in the East Coast, if you want to cover, like Ravi says, all the entire regions, what time do people read? So all these things I have authentically come across in the last 3 years, to create content, to post it on time, to genuinely people come and see it and comment on it, or let me know, or at least for me to have the satisfaction as like, okay, at least one person read this and they're getting some value out of it. So it takes time for sure, it takes patience for sure. And if there is maybe ask a person or two, if you're worried that, if this might be, if it's scary for you, ask somebody for a review before you post it, some a close friend or someone. But then come out of your comfort zone. That is the only tip that I can give you, because if you don't do that, you're just going to be stuck out there. If you're unmuted, if you'd like to talk more, we can discuss.
Yeah. And I want to, yeah, Nishant raised his
His hand,
hand.
yeah.
Okay. All right. So, oh, maybe I chose the wrong person. I apologize. Okay. Nishant, would you like
Hey,
to add
hi
any?
Ravi.
Hi.
Hi Ravi and Anu.
Yes,
I
we can hear you.
actually have been following. I've been following you guys for some time right now.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, and I have a mentor. Actually, his name is Kriston. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I feel that Anu knows about
Hmm.
Chris, or I have met him probably.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Uh, but my experience with Agile is only 3 years. But
Mm-hmm.
I have worked in another domain for quite a long time. So I had a big struggle transitioning from
Mm-hmm.
teaching in an engineering college to this particular role, adapting to the industry. And I didn't have any peer group. I didn't have any peer group. A lot of my peers were working in as a software engineer, like for example, a developer
Mm-hmm.
or a tester or a DevOps, but none in a few of them in project management. But then this was a totally new landscape, so I actually could not know whom to reach out to.
Got
So
it.
then finally, like my manager told me, saying that you just have to follow some people in
Yeah,
LinkedIn and just get connected, and that's how I found
yeah. And Nishant,
Chris,
we are
and
struggling to
then
hear
I
you.
got
Nishant, we are
connected.
struggling to hear you. You have a bad audio
That's how I
connection.
started.
Okay. All right.
Then now I feel like I need to share that journey. Yeah.
Got it.
Can you hear
All
me?
right.
Can you hear me now?
Nishant, I'm going to have to mute you because I think you have a bad connection. So we hear you clearly for a few seconds and then we can't hear you. So maybe you can type, but I think we got the essence of what you were saying. So I think we have been in your situation before. I will share a roadmap that worked for me. Step one, like other people's posts if it really resonates. So this is like a baby step, dipping your toes in the water. And also when you follow people who inspire you, so for example, if you hit the bell on Anu's post, I find every single post or comment engagement that Anu makes, it matches with my values. So sometimes following one person opens the door to following other people. So maybe step one is follow people and hit the bell so that you get notified of every post, and you're not at the mercy of the LinkedIn algorithm. Step one. Step two, once you start finding your people, the posts that really speak to your heart, engage with it. Like uh, step three could be comment sincerely. Hey, here's what I loved about this post. Step four could be reshare. Here's what I loved about this post. Step five could be look at other content like a Scrum Masters of the Universe video and then share that. So you're curating, haven't yet gone to creating, but you're curating. Somewhere along the way, you will find your voice, and one day, if it's meant to be, you will create original content. But these could be baby step and allow yourself the space to linger as long as you want in each stage. Don't force yourself. When if and when the time is right, you will. And sometimes it's also okay to send direct messages. So you can put a comment directly to someone, so you can reduce the risk exposure of, and when the public space, someone will be unkind to you. So great question. Thank you for sharing. And I hope this was useful. So now we have approached the end of our time. I want to thank all of you from the bottom of my heart. If you found this useful, please post a message on LinkedIn, maybe tag Anu, tag our group, and share what is one actionable insight you got in case it can light up the world for someone else who might be navigating a similar challenge. So I want to thank you, Anu, for who you are for our world and for making time to share with an open heart without any ulterior motive. And then if anybody wants, Anu, if they want, uh, and then yes, I will post my LinkedIn profile. Okay, let me see. I'll post my LinkedIn profile. And if anybody wants, Anu, is it okay to send you a connection request if they
Of
want to
course.
stay in touch?
Yes,
Yeah, so
LinkedIn
yeah,
is where I'm very active at. So please do send me a connection request, send me a message, and I will reach out to you. And Ravi, if you can please go to the next slide.
okay. Yes. All right. So
Okay.
these are my closing thoughts.
Oh,
Life is
sorry. Yeah,
short.
the previous slide, I just wanted to say, can you go back? Yes. So I have created a white page
Is
about,
this one, right?
yes, building strong LinkedIn presence, and I would love to share that with you. As Ravi said, I'm a person who strongly believes in paying it forward. So please tag Ravi, please tag ROI Meetup because he takes so much passion in delivering and giving value back to so many people out there. And I would like for more people to come and attend this meetup. So please tag both Ravi and ROI Meetup. Tag me if you can, and I will send you this white paper myself personally. It has tips and tricks on as everything to what Ravi also shared about how to make your LinkedIn presence more and how you can generally authentically make those connections, which not even for your future job, but to increase your presence here on LinkedIn. So Ravi, with that closing thought, thank you so much for having me. It has been such a pleasure, and I feel really honored to be a part of this and to be on the other side of the table and to be a guest today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I posted my LinkedIn profile if anybody wants to connect with me. And then life is short. Go where you're celebrated. Don't stay where you're tolerated. And if your life constraints force you to be in such a situation, keep looking. Don't give up. There will be some place where you will be welcomed with open arms. If you can't find that community, build the community. So if I can help in any way, please contact me. If Anu can help, contact her. I hope you found this useful and I hope to see you again. Thank you. Bye bye. Have a wonderful